it looks like we get rid of. I'll leave this up here because it works. Again, something said you kind of put the thought. It's not Shem. He said put the FBI thing here, but it's federal funding for. I'm thinking, should I take that off? And then Shem's like, no, leave it because it's from Hashem. That's our problem. Is the fraud, whatever it is. So again, when you think about the fraud, if you get rid of the fraud, you probably have enough money to lift everybody up. But the reality is I'm cursed to be a white N-word person. If you're white and you're nice, that's their thing where they want to be gay with black men. I mean, they're insane, the people that do this shit. They're devils. They go to church every day and say how perfect they are and their friends are. And then every so often they have a contrite moment. Ooh, I'm a sinner. But it's all bullshit and crocodile tears. Crocodile. That's funny how Shem did that. I meant to say crocodile tears. I say crocodile tears. So again, it's not to beat yourself up for being white. Some of us are great. Jews are great for black people. That's why Satan loves doing that. Jews have helped people of color longer than anybody else probably on those. Seriously helped them. Began in the 60s. Right. Our judges were very serious about helping people of color. Our lawyers, our young people. Bernie was one of them, but he went the way of insanity. You just got to get rid of that fraud, and I think we'll be okay. Which it's kind of like bittersweet because it's so sad because I'm getting older and I wanted to fix this stuff seriously over the last 20 years. And actually in my life I was never a bad person like that. I was never not trying to fix it, but I really got serious when I left the government because I understood metaphysics. And again, you're trying to correct metaphysics, but you can't really buy your way out of it. But you can. Again, we go back to Karen Bass. She's not a perfect person, and her and I disagree on certain things. But when it comes to her program for the unhoused people, she is combating metaphysics appropriately and spending the money appropriately. Again, there's fraud, and that's what's killing her, right? Or what killed her for a little bit there. I think she's going to get, make sure there's no more fraud, and that's really where the issue is probably. I mean, it's a monster problem in New York City and LA there. Well, because again, it's what I explained even before she was probably doing a holistic rehousing or holistic programs, the total person. Once you begin, because it's a social ill. It's not because they're black and a lot of white. Again, I was amazed by people that became addicts, that I grew up with. By the time they were in their middle ages, they were using meth and all that kind of thing and crack and. Actually, my neighbor kid, he died when he was 45, and it was meth. He just couldn't stop using meth. I smoke cigarettes too, but it kind of goes hand in hand. Very talented person, but again, those kind of issues. Well, but you can't do that because again, it's going to be challenged, and I'm sure the Justice Department will most likely challenge it. It's a construct of the mind. It doesn't really work. If you actually were honest about and again, I'm not saying that most Republicans are going to help, better than you because you're saying affirmative action. It's just refocusing on what you're actually trying to accomplish. And then moving the things that you want to move. But yeah, Marshall shows I got cursed to be that thing, the white N-word person, by others, I'm sure of it. And then what's his name? What's that guy's name? Fogg. Matt Fogg. He spoke about the white guy that got the little rat. I didn't go that far, but I didn't want to be racist at all. Again, when I was in the Marshal Service, it surprised me because I thought it was the complete opposite. Because, Marshal Service is the first people that actually moved in the agency that moved in the United States for civil rights. They put their body between the white supremacist and the victim, and escorted her to school and other such things. So it's probably foolhardy to really even think that affirmative action does anything. Well, because if you're again, we go back to Karen Bass and that holistic rehousing. If you approach everything that way, then you're gonna solve the problem, and you don't have to worry about racial issues. There's no reason to move a white addict out of the way because you found a black addict to help, or a Latino addict. At a certain point, we could accept illegal alienism in a controlled fashion if we fix everything that's broken within the immigration system. I'm not anti-immigration at all, and I'm not anti-illegal alienism if it's controlled. What you did is you messed it up for all these young women that ended up in sex trafficking or narcotics or dying of overdoses. When I saw that 14-year-old that died, reading the news in Santa Fe that died of the overdose, I was, I get to a certain degree, would break anybody if you really think about it. Now, when you live in Santa Fe, it's a little different world. People dying of overdoses, people dying of HIV. It's like almost a third world country. Yet you have some of the wealthiest people in the nation having party there. Again, Russell Means, he was an intelligent man. I was supposed to meet him. They started, and again, I didn't know I was supposed to meet him, is why I started the movement. I started my movement to try to get to Native American communities in 2008, based upon some issue they had. And I developed a plan, a holistic plan, but it was more metaphysical, to bring them back to their metaphysical base, their spiritual base. And then that should protect them a little bit better once they refocused in that direction. But later on, after he passed, they said that was the whole thing. You were to meet Russell Means and give him the rest of the information, so he could understand more so what was happening, because he earned it. Well, he lacks some of the information, but again, I think he must have got some of it, because he did say, the American is the new Indian, right? So he saw the expansion of the deep state, really. So there are groups of people of every color that oppress. I learned that when I was a young kid. We grew up in mixed neighborhoods, and it became more people of color than white. And I remember 2 incidents where black people discriminated against me and my brothers, and at one time it was just me. And again, that's obvious, overt type of attack. Well, yet I was born on the day that the Civil Rights Act was enacted. So again, I never knew that till later in life. Once I woke up and I'm like, well, wait, that's my birthday. God's like, you're right. So we do fight the battle of returning to that fundamental fairness of your race doesn't matter. I did a thing in the mind. I don't know if it went anywhere, but it's about being transparent. We're all transparent. Just in your mind. Again, that may be an exercise in the mind that works. We don't have color. We're all transparent. We're the people of transparency. I'm sure, what's his name? What's that guy's name? Iowa senator. I forget his last name. Yeah, but he get behind that. He's into transparency. But that's the idea. You can't beat it with affirmative action or any of those type of programs. I understand it. There was a time when he probably needed a boost, but what you end up doing is creating an excuse for your alcoholic uncle or something like that. Oh, he just had a spell when he falls down. No, he drunk. He drunk. But it is a spell. See, there it is. Somebody puts a spell on, becomes a drunk or an alcoholic. Alcoholism is a demon, not a person. But we can't, when you get to the libtardville, you mess that all up because you go too far. Right. So again, in some of Karen Bass's moments in those programs, she gets tough. She says, no, you program. You're not going to sleep here. You're going to program. Right. She's like a correctional officer. You're going to program. And she puts him into the program. Right. She's tougher than I am. I was willing to leave some RVs out there, but manage it. The city manages the RVs in a lot type of deal. Right. They want to sleep in an RV, they have to go to the city lot and sleep in the city lot. And then there's maintenance teams and people, even mechanics, to help them keep that stuff up, make sure it's safe. Well, because some people have psychological issues and they end up in that RV and it's very difficult to get them out of it. But the goal is to get them out of the RV, but you bring them in and start managing it and keeping it safe while you're working them into a regular housing situation. Well, nobody's white, nobody's black, nobody's yellow. I believe this planet, the melatonin thing is like the physical excuse, but it's a reason to discriminate. Satan loves causing discrimination back and forth. So it's a construct of metaphysics that created melatonin and the color changes. I don't even believe it works 100% physical. We see it that way, but I don't believe because people don't change colors all that much anymore once the races were solidified. So the idea is just to really strategize these programs so that we meet the most needy. It's kind of weird. I mean, as far as, okay, for the first 6 months of the year, we're only going to take people under this. We might increase it. We'll let you know. Or even I think quarter would probably be better. How much money is being used up. And again, seasonal, you have to look back. Is there seasonal? Do people, I guess probably in the fall, people apply for a lot of benefits, maybe even in the spring before it gets hot. I know I remember my wife had a Korean friend that lived in Flushing. We visited up there and it was miserable. It was humid, hot. I'm sure if I was unhoused or trying to find some sort of money for utilities, I'd probably about June, July, I'd start looking, because August I think it was early August. That's when I was introduced to the high rent in New York. We went into we had like a house in Philadelphia, a row home that we were renting. And we went up to New York and in Flushing, and you go in and it's a studio kind of thing, but it has a wall down the middle to separate the kitchen from the rest of the apartment. It's like my wife and I and my bedroom, and they're paying twice as much as we pay. Right. We had like a 3-bedroom row home. It wasn't a horrible area. It was getting. It ended up after we left. I think they had one of the corner stores. Philadelphia's famous for corner stores, and they sell hoagies. It was a couple Pakistani guys, stand-up guys, nice guys. Again, I'm not anti-immigrant. You go down there and get hoagies every so often. But when I did eat hoagies, but they shot him. He came out with a baseball bat and they shot him. And that's another famous thing in Philadelphia, baseball bat behind the counter. He came out with a baseball bat and the guy went poof. And they had He lived. They brought the Hambo, and it was like Bridge and Pat Pratt area. I healed that place when I first woke up. That Kensington, I took care of those areas. Not that I was living in Jersey at the time. I'd ride my bike across the bridge, I guess. I ride my bicycle across the bridge. So again, we can't get into that because we're getting into a mess. And again, the Islamic people are way over, playing that jihad thing. Israel messed up, but it doesn't give you a right to keep going. That's Israel. That's Trump. That's Israel. That's Trump. I mean, enough of that. That's discriminatory. There's a lot of issues that have greater issues. Well, that's the scam. If I can create an enemy and tell you there's the enemy, right? And some people do it because they get paid to do it. Y'all funding a lot of weird networks. Might get you in trouble once. Cash is like swamp. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we don't use some education. Well, the goal is what's called the term I use is fix something. We need to fix it. We don't just band-aid it. No, a lot of black people don't have a fair shake, but a lot of black people are very wealthy. And they discriminate against white people. So again, it's a different world. If I could have met, what's his name? Will Smith. If I could have met Will Smith, I think he would have helped me. Even though I'm white and he's black. We agree on certain issues. He just came up in the head ago. Just to let you know, I read the other day about a mental illness where people believe somebody loves them, or it came up when I was researching what Trump derangement syndrome actually is. It's not derangement syndrome; it's other mental illnesses, including OCD. So again, that's what spies like. There's spies everywhere. They may be called a PI or a political operative. They're really a spy. They're trained like a spy to manipulate you like a spy. They're taking people with OCD and focusing them on Trump, focusing them on Israel. That's what they're doing. And they're causing OCD in people's lives. Also autism and other things. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But the reality is this. To fix it, you need to fix it. It's metaphysics. There's things you can do physical, but affirmative action isn't one. You're not going to fix it with affirmative action. So if you feel, again, psychology will say that you feel, a lot of people feel bias. Bias is normal. It happens. It's a byproduct of the planet. Sometimes a byproduct of people's experiences. But again, it's metaphysics. So you have to train your mind that if you feel better helping white people and you're white, you should train your mind to feel better helping other people. Now, Satan will get in your mind right away, go, what? They're not going to help you. They don't think like that. That's not your problem. So what everybody has to do is say, if I'm Arabic, I want to help a Jew. If I'm a Jew, I want to help an Arabic. And then we fix it. That's how you fix it. There's no other way. You have to remove that onus on the other person to be that cursed person. Because every society has down people, and that's coming from within the communities, but also from outside the communities. Well, heal things. Again, Judaism was actually a metaphysical religion, but somehow it lost its way. It's the definition of what everything means. Aaron, he moved magic. But yet everybody, well, Moses says we're not supposed to use magic. Well, what is this? Because it's a definition. It's witchcraft. You're not to move witchcraft. But you can move magic. And that's why I blame Jews. They have a lot of magic and they do a lot of things, but they're not wanting peace. But it's not every Jew. Right? Well, obviously the Islamic people have gone out of control. We got it under control. I stood up for Islamic people for many years saying, hey, they're not that bad, but of course they got that bad now. Again, there's Islamic people that aren't, but I'm not talking about that. So again, just intelligently work your programs. If Black people honestly have the greatest need, if Latino people have a greater need than a white person, then they will only make a certain amount of money and they'll have certain things and needs and disabilities or whatever it is in life. And then you approach it from that perspective. If you're not hitting that group of people, then you're either they're not the neediest. Again, make sure fraud doesn't exist. Or your threshold's too high. And again, metaphysics. I've probably had this disability from Persian Gulf since 2005. I didn't even realize how it was working. But I did put in for it in 2013, which shows you couldn't get anywhere. It's metaphysics. But again, I think somebody physically blocked it. There was an open claim from 2013, and this is probably what it was. I really am owed back pay. I don't know what to do about it. I'll have to look around, see if there's options. But again, deep state did that, I'm sure. So again, how do you get in? So outreach is important, but you can't slant your outreach. You have to be fair about your outreach because you're not going to fix it. You can't discriminate your way out of discrimination just because you think it's not discrimination. That's why I say death penalty is the stupidest thing on earth. It's murder. It's killing somebody. Well, we have a reason to do it. Well, they have a reason to do it too. Everybody that's ever killed somebody had a reason to do it, even if they told you when you caught them that they didn't have a reason to do it. When they did it, they had a reason to do it. That's why they did it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. See, Satan has skewed the language and the thought process. So to kill somebody because they killed somebody is to create the opening for another murder. Because you justify killing someone. That's what you do. Death penalty is justified killing someone. Hate to tell you, this is Satan's planning. So if you justify killing somebody, they're going to justify killing somebody. Well, what about this war in Iran? More? Well, they've justified killing people. Now we're going to kill them. But this is different. They're not in jail somewhere. Like I said, with Saddam, I wasn't big on hanging it, no matter what he did, because he was contained. And I think he actually, the reality is he woke up and Satan killed him. But what we did it, or actually the new Iraqi government did it. Right. He was waking up. It was after his death, I think. Yeah, I think it was after his death. It didn't feel right when it happened, even though I'm a veteran and all that from the Persian Gulf. And then later, when the correctional officers started speaking about their relationship with Saddam, it was obvious that he was waking up. Well, ruthless, but he's in prison. It's over. That's the way it was. And kind of Noriega. Time of life. Well, we did right in Noriega's life. Again, I'm not going to say whether he should have been in prison or not in prison. That's for the courts, the judges, and all that. But what I am saying is that we didn't kill him or allow him to be killed. I mean, I don't think you all understand the larger problem. Again, the liberal goes too far in the other direction and doesn't correct the issue that causes a prison society. And in fact, liberals will go to the point of being the deep state and incarcerating innocent people or trying to force them into crime so they can incarcerate. So again, see what our issue is? So again, you're not really liberating people. You're not really interested in keeping black people out of jail because you're trying to put a white guy in jail or a white gal in jail. And I'm not talking about just law enforcement in general. This is before law enforcement. There's people out there that cause people to be homeless. There's people out there that cause people to commit crimes, and they do it by psychological methods, whether they learned them officially or not. This is how you're going to heal your communities. The only way to do it is to get their mind back. So you have to take these people that can't seem to get anywhere. You have to heal them. And if you can't do that, there's physical things you can do to heal them if you're not spiritual minded. But you have to find out where their life was broken and then fix it there. You know, psychologists can generally do that, but not all can do that. So you have to institute programs to say, and I think the Missouri approach and some of those programs are starting to go in that direction. You have to say, but you have to be honest about it. You can't say, well, we're just going to look, the drunk uncle. Can't make excuse for your uncle falling down when he's drunk. Otherwise, he can fall down a step and then die. So there's things that happened in their life that broke their life. Some people, yeah, it's going to be very difficult if impossible. But there is the best route. And the best route is not to say it's because you're black, even though if it is because they're black. Because somebody had it done to them because they're white. Do you understand that? It's not because they're black. In their life, it may have been because they're black. But in the white guy's life, it could be because they were white. So it's not, it's because you're black. What is it? Hate, anger, and hate with the projection to cause the downturn. And they're physically in people's lives. Don't talk about my "foo you." Right? See, they're mad because I said that. And how I know I'm mad? I jammed my skillet here with my elbow. Otherwise, it wouldn't even have touched me. Sit around cursing people all day. It's case in point. Somebody's cursing me right now that can cause somebody to be homeless, cause somebody to have no money, cause somebody to crash their car, to be an alcoholic, to be a prostitute. And they're projecting. And they're probably government somewhere. Probably multiple governments, including dirty cops and dirty agents and dirty spies. So funding fraud, work on that, because I think that's one of our big problems. I know some of you Democrats call it an election fund, but you have to wean yourself off of that. The problem is you have to get back to the United States and build your voter base again, not the bullshit. Right. I'm sure if Reagan had to do it over again, he would not allow Iran to grow. How do I know that? He just told me that. He is still alive. None of us actually die. Some of us can communicate back and forth. Right. So it's time, and we have to get it done. Again, it's going to cost us money now, but once we finish it, we're not going to have all that expenditure we had over the years trying to fight it. So again, I know you can't see it, but the world that says imagine can exist. but it can't exist today. If you think you can live a life of imagine without borders and all that, that's bullshit. You can't. Because we can't trust any of you not to take advantage of your fellow person. You're not mature enough to live a world without borders. You'd addict 20 more people to fentanyl today if we did that. And 20 is a small number. There'll be 50 more prostitutes. Well, prostitution is a good job. Okay, Democrat, I understand respecting prostitutes, but it's not a good job. Especially when you're coming across the border with open borders and you're 14 years old, your sister's 16-year-old, and they kill your mother that's 30 years old, and kill your father that's 30 years old, and then put you in somewhere in California, and then pay off Newsom and his buddies so that you can sexually traffic, so that they can sexually traffic. So again, open borders won't work. Every ill that's what that actually is. Every ill that's in Mexico and Central America is being moved up here and increased. And yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's also a lot. In other words, the narco is not paying money to get people off narcotics. The narco is not paying the medical bills for these people from the narcotics. The narco is not raising the kids of the parent who drops out because they're narcotics addicted. We are. So it's not free money, but it's your money, right? To buy your big car and rub elbows with senators and Congress people. So again, the theory is, I'm going to stop right now and start again because I want to talk about how corrupt money has legs and how these people that are wealthy aren't really wealthy without the corrupt money, but they didn't make the corrupt money from corruption. The corrupt person paid them.